Hi, ladies, and welcome to this workshop, Five Things Everyone Should Know About College. It is being presented to you by Jeanette Miller. Thank you, Jeanette, for taking the time to do this workshop for us. You could take just a minute to introduce yourself to the girls, tell them a little bit about what it is that you do.
Sure. My name's Jeanette Miller. I'm the Director of Workforce Education at North Seattle College in Seattle. And what I do is I work with low-income students, keeping them in school. I help pay for their school and my team provides support for them while they're in school so that they can graduate.
Awesome, very cool. Well, I am getting ready to go ahead and turn this over to you.
Okay.
So there we go. All right, thanks.
Okay. So our topic today is 5 things everyone should know about college. And let me just get started and see if this works. And there we go. So the first thing I wanted you to know is there are many different kinds of colleges. Everybody, when they think of college, a lot of people think of that big Ivy League stone and huge campus, but that's not the only kind of college that's out there. There are several, as you can see, there's several different types. So there's community colleges, which is where I work. I work at a community college. Most of our degrees are 2-year degrees and certificates. So we do not only career training for students who want to go straight to work after they finish their degrees, but we also do transfer degrees to help students take some of the classes they need before they transfer to a 4-year university. More and more community colleges are also offering those 4-year bachelor's degrees. They're called Bachelor's in Applied Science, and they're usually career-oriented. So, for instance, my school has an international business bachelor's degree. We also have an early childhood education one for people who want to work in preschool and below. And we also have an electronics degree and computer programming that helps people get into jobs here in Seattle. We have Google and Amazon and Microsoft, so it helps them get their foot in the door at places like that. And they're able to take all those classes at a community college without having to transfer to a 4-year. But what you've probably heard the most about is universities. And those are 4-year colleges where you start as a freshman and you go all the way through to your senior year. Sometimes they take you a little longer than 4 years to get through, depending on what you're studying. But for the most part, it's between 4 and 5 years to complete. Those colleges also will have graduate programs, which are master's degrees and doctoral degrees. And that's what you earn after your 4-year degree. If you decide you want to go on to school and keep going to school and do something that requires what's called an advanced degree, those are the schools you would go to, a university, to get your master's or your doctorate degree. And that's a long way in the future. So you don't have to worry about that yet, but it's good to plan. Law school would also be one of those degrees, and medical school if you're thinking of doing one of those career tracks. There's also trade and career schools. This could be a beauty school, apprenticeship program. Maybe you want to be a plumber or an electrician. Often there are trade schools that help you get those credentials and get into those positions. And apprenticeships are really a good opportunity if you want to go to school right away or go to work right away, but you need some schooling. A lot of what are called trades, which would be construction and electronics, electricians, plumbers, etc., they will train you while you work. And so there's a lot of trade schools that'll help you out with that. And then those are often jobs that you move up in pay as you go on. And then eventually you make a living wage doing what you've been trained to do, but you've been paid the entire time you've been training. So that's really nice. There are also a few different types of universities. There's public universities, which are for us is University of Washington. The schools that most students go to in a college that usually have the name of the state in the title of the university. So those are considered public universities and are often funded by the state that they're located in addition to tuition fees that come in. For-profit universities are a lot of the ones you see that are online, like University of Phoenix would be a good example, where they're schools and they give you degrees, but they're also making a little bit of profit off your tuition. So some people are okay with that because some of them have really good reputations. Some people prefer to go with what's called a nonprofit university, A nonprofit does the same thing, often offers online classes. You may have heard of WGU, Western Governors University, Southern New Hampshire University. These are nonprofit universities that provide online training for students all over the country. And they are usually priced a little lower than a for-profit university, but they all accept financial aid, and we'll get to financial aid in a second. So it's important to know that not all colleges or universities offer the same on and off-campus options, and that's why it's really important to shop around. Every college offers different programs. They have different majors and they have different minors. And so the school that's down the street from you may not be offering the program that you want, but that doesn't mean you can't find the college that does offer it. Or maybe the college right next door to you offers exactly what you want. That's why you have to do research, is you have to figure out who is doing what. So don't ever feel trapped into a certain school because you think it's closest to you or something. Go where your program of study that you're interested in is. And that's really important, because you want to make sure that you're taking the classes that are going to lead you towards that degree. Also, every college has a different cost structure. Some schools have dorms on campus. You've probably heard of dormitories where people live on campus and they get their food on campus and do all that. Some colleges don't offer that. So they have different cost structures accordingly. So every school will charge tuition and fees for your classes, and every school will sell you books for your classes, but not every school will provide you with somewhere to live. And so it's important to know what your living arrangements are going to be while you go to college, and know that financial aid is there to help you pay for those living arrangements, whether they're on campus or off campus. A lot of people don't realize, especially if you go to a community college, oftentimes you'll get enough aid to help pay for living off campus. If you're going to a school that doesn't have dormitories, they consider that part of your cost of attendance. And cost of attendance tells you how much money you're eligible for as a student. And then one thing I like to tell people is that student life can be as important as academic life. It's really important that you do go to a school that has the classes you want, that has the program of study you want, but also look at the other things that go on campus. Are there student clubs in your field of study that you're interested in joining? Are you a cheerleader and so you need to go to a school that has sports? Are you a football player and so you want to make sure you go to a school with a football team? Or maybe you just really love football and you want to watch a football team every Friday night. These are things that are as important as your classes, because you're only in your classes for so many hours each week. And what you do the rest of the time can be really important in making sure you have a positive experience. And you want to have a positive experience in college because that is a really great time in your life. And it gives you a lot of feedback as to the kind of person you are and the kind of person you're capable of being. And so it's really important to take all of that into consideration when you're looking at colleges. So I wanted to cover briefly the types of financial aid. A lot of people have heard of student loans and think that's the only kind of financial aid, but that's not true. Grants are actually what you'll be awarded first. And grants are like scholarships. They're free money. This is money that you don't have to pay back. And there are both state and federal grants available to students who go to school. These are usually income-based, but most grants, especially the Pell Grant, which is the largest of the grants, Pell Grant, you'd be surprised at the income threshold, which is the amount of money your family can make for you to still get help. So it's really important that you file your financial aid as soon as possible so that you can get that grant money. And that's free money. And if you get more grants than your cost of attendance, sometimes you even get money to help pay for your living expenses and things like that. But you'll, for the most part, get money to at least pay your tuition and books. So get as much of that free money as you can. Loans are what has to be paid back after you stop attending. Typically 6 months after you graduate, you'll have to start paying back your loans. They are income-based repayment, so it'll depend on how much money you're making at the time, but the less you pay, the longer you pay. So there's a lot of downside to loans. If you can possibly avoid them, I always tell students, especially if you're in community college and you're going to be going on to a 4-year college, try to avoid those loans early on so that they're not racking up interest the whole time you're in school. So the more you can put off getting loans, the better you are, but they are an option. And those are offered through the federal government or through private banks. The loans offered through the federal government have very good interest rates compared to the loans from banks. So you would get those through your financial aid office as well. And they can talk to you about that if you find yourself in a situation where you need a little extra help. And then one of my favorite activities about college is work study. This is on-campus employment. You can work where you go to school, and the hours are flexible because all the workers are students. So they know you have class, they know you have things to do. When I first started college, I worked in the cafeteria, and it was hard work, but it worked around my class schedule. I got free food, and for me and my dorm mates, it was great. And I got that experience that led to my first job off campus, which was working in a bookstore and was a little more enjoyable. But because I had that on campus experience, I was able to qualify for that off-campus job eventually. One thing I wanted to tell you is that financial aid is for everyone. Few families don't qualify for some kind of financial aid. A lot of people think, oh, my parents make too much money, or, you know, I'll never qualify, I'm not going to bother applying. You need to apply. The only way to find out what you're eligible for is to apply for financial aid. And it's free to do, so you should go ahead and do it. Cost of attendance is really key. So what'll happen is when you do your financial aid application, it'll ask you what schools you want to go to, and you can put in those schools, and then it'll tell you what your expected family contribution is. And that tells you how much they think you're going to need to pay towards college. But what's important is that you'll still get aid on top of that amount. And it'll tell you whether you're Pell eligible or not, Pell Grant eligible. So even though your cost of attendance may be $500, that doesn't necessarily mean that the school is going to ask you for $500. It just means that they figure at some point you're going to contribute $500 towards your living expenses or something like that. So if you have an expected family contribution, that's not money you have to pay to the school. That's your own money. So don't feel like, oh, I can't go to school because I have to pay the school. You don't have to pay the school that money. That's really important. A lot of students get confused about that. All colleges offer financial aid. Every reputable college in the United States is qualified to offer financial aid, and some career and trade schools do as well. Like we have here in Washington, we have the Jean Juarez Salon School, the Academy. They train hairstylists and manicurists, and they accept financial aid. So the students who go there, because the school has gone through certain steps to qualify themselves with the federal government and the Department of Education, that school is then eligible to get money from the federal government and use it to pay for students' tuition. So financial aid is for everyone. There's something out there for everyone, be it a scholarship, a grant, or a loan. I swear there's money out there for you. And it's never too late or too early to file for financial aid. Applications become available on October 1st for the next school year. So you have a lot of leeway. And what it does is they're going to ask for, depending on your age, they'll ask for your parents' taxes, or if you're over 24, they'll ask for your taxes. And so once you get that taken care of for the previous year, you can file for financial aid in October. And the sooner you get that application into the school, the more aid you're going to be eligible for. The school will spend money until they run out of money. And so they will give you financial aid until they run out of money. So the earlier you get on the bandwagon, the more money you get. So I always tell people October 1st, be on the computer filling out what's called your FAFSA, free application for federal student aid. And I put the website there. It says file at www.fafsa.gov. And that's an important website. And I'm sure your schools have told you all about it as well. But that is where you file for free for financial aid. And I tell you to send your financial aid application to every school you're even considering. Even if you haven't applied to the college yet, send the financial aid application to them. Because then what's going to happen is when you see what colleges you got into, they're going to send you letters that tell you how much financial aid you qualify for. And that's a good way to shop colleges and say, okay, well, this college is giving me this much money and scholarships, and this college is giving me this much money but no scholarships. And I think I need the scholarships to really succeed in school. So that helps you choose your school. So it's really important that you send, it's free to send to every school that you can think of. Just send it to them and they will process it and let you know what you qualify for. So I know that's a lot of information. So if you have questions, go ahead and email me. Just let me know you're part of this conference. And I also have a spot on the conference webpage that you can leave questions for me, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. So if no question is too dumb, just ask me everything, okay? Just ask me. If it's about college, I'm happy to help. So thank you very much and good luck.